and please check and see if you have to hit record. It should automatically start recording. Oh, it's already recording now.
Do you want me to change the duration for the first slide to 2 minutes so we have a little more wiggle room so I can start it now?
Yeah, if you want to start it now, and then I'm going to hit broadcast. 2 minutes
Okay.
and start now.
Okay.
I think this is being recorded, all our chat, so Jason will have to lop it off later.
Fine.
All right, so it is recording. It's recording to the Google Cloud where we've paid for extra memory. I'm going to hit broadcast, everybody, and then mute myself. So we are a go.
Good afternoon, everybody. I'm DG Mary Shackleton. Welcome and thank you for joining us for our World Polio Day brunch. I'm so excited to be with you. Why are we here? To learn why zero matters, to keep our promise to the world's children, to learn a little bit more about virtual fundraising, and to have some fun. So I hope that's what we're going to do. So grab a seat, get comfortable. Let's share some knowledge over the next 60 minutes or so. I'd like to welcome our panelists, especially Cecily Smith, who is going to be monitoring our chat box. So please do feel free to chat in the comment box. Just an update, fundraising to date is right around $12,000. So let's see if we can do just a little bit more people of action. Thanks so much. And without further ado, let's showtime.
It is so important for us to understand that we can take care of our family. We can take care of every person who is our friend. But how about taking care of people we will never see, never know? And that's the spirit of humanity that is needed today. We have to think of our future. When a gardener plants a tree, when he's very old, he don't think that he will eat the fruit from that tree, but he think about the next generation.
Hello, Rotarians and friends. This year has challenged the world in ways that no one could have anticipated. COVID-19 has changed the way that we work, socialize, and celebrate. But even amid the ongoing public health challenges, there's still news worth celebrating. This year, Africa was certified wild polio free. This is big news and not something we should take for granted. Just over a decade ago, Africa was struck by 3/4 of all wild polio cases in the world. And now, more than 1 billion people who live on the African continent are safe from this terrible virus. But we still have one big celebration to go. We now need to finish the job and complete Rotary's mission of a world without polio. All of us have an important role in making this vision a reality. Rotarians around the world are working tirelessly to support this global effort. It won't be easy, and we know that there are many challenges ahead of us. COVID-19 impacted our polio eradication effort, but it hasn't stopped it. We've learned something else about our Polio Plus campaign this year, that the infrastructure that global polio partners helped build over decades is one of the most powerful public health tools on the planet, with an impact that's way beyond polio eradication. Another challenge we face is vaccine hesitancy. This is nothing new. Misinformation about vaccines was rampant all the way back in the 1950s. But even with all of the pamphlets and flyers of that era, which have turned into the YouTube videos and Facebook posts of today, truth can and must win out. In the 1950s, over 1 million children in the United States lined up to participate in vaccine trials, knowing that science could make polio preventable. Some of these children, known as Polio Pioneers, are now Rotary members and continue to be some of our strongest spokespeople. We know that vaccines work, and now we must continue our fight to ensure that children have access to them for generations to come. And speaking of great advocates, one Rotarian in Lagos, Nigeria, has been working tirelessly for decades to end polio in Africa. Dr. Tunji Funsho, a cardiologist, chair of Rotary's Nigeria National Polio Plus Committee, a committed Rotarian, and now he's been named one of Time 100's most influential people of the year as recognition for his role in helping to kick polio out of Africa. Time's list is impressive and has previously included people like Oprah Winfrey, Nelson Mandela, and the Dalai Lama. The campaign in Africa succeeded because of people like Dr. Funsho, all committed to the same goal. We've immunized children, educated parents, and advocated for funding to support this massive public health initiative. I'm proud of what we've accomplished, but we're not done yet. Wild polio virus still exists in Afghanistan and Pakistan. The world can't be free of wild polio until we reach every last child. You know, that's what makes Rotary so special. Our ability, as President Holger Knack says, to open opportunities for others and for ourselves. To succeed, we need you. We can't finish this fight without your advocacy, fundraising, and awareness raising. Thank you for taking part in this effort and working tirelessly for a polio-free world, all the way to the finish line. Thank you.
I'm Jay Wenger, and I lead polio eradication efforts at the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. The foundation began working to protect children from this paralyzing disease nearly 2 decades ago, when we partnered with Rotary International. Today, we are one of the spearheading partners of the Global Polio Eradication Initiative, or GPEI, and contribute technical and financial resources to advance worldwide efforts to end polio. The progress that's been made against this disease over the past 30 years is truly extraordinary. One of the reasons the polio program has been so effective is its commitment to reaching every single child, no matter how challenging that might be. Every year, dedicated health workers travel by boat, foot, bicycle, train, and motorcycle to vaccinate over 450 million children. The impact of these efforts was clear this past August, when we celebrated a crucial milestone on the path to a polio-free world. certifying the entire WHO Africa region free of wild poliovirus. This monumental public health achievement was made possible by dedicated health workers, traditional and religious leaders, caregivers, donors, and partners, who together helped avert roughly 1.8 million cases of wild polio across the region. Many of these people are Rotarians like Dr. Tunji Funsho, the chairman of Nigeria's Polio Plus Committee, who was recently named the Time 100's list of most influential people of 2020. Dr. Funsho's work leading national immunization days in Nigeria was vital to reaching children with polio vaccines and stopping transmission. The road to this milestone was full of challenges, but these challenges proved how integral collaboration can be to success. In 2016, when 4 cases of wild poliovirus were detected in Nigeria after over 2 years without any cases, 5 countries in the Lake Chad Basin sprung into action, working with the program to launch a coordinated campaign that halted the outbreak and prevented further spread. Because of that hard work, 5 out of 6 WHO regions, that's over 90% of the world's population, are now free of wild poliovirus. But the program does so much more than stop one disease. It also regularly shares knowledge, infrastructure, and resources to respond to other disease outbreaks and health crises. In 2014, when Ebola was detected in Nigeria, the Polio Emergency Operations Center model and GPI staff were instrumental in stopping the outbreak in Lagos. Now the polio program is supporting the COVID-19 response in countries around the world. Thousands of staff are working to educate the public on the disease, and polio resources are accelerating COVID-19 detection and response. In Nigeria, for example, polio staff in all 36 states are supporting contact tracing for COVID-19. Even as the work of the polio eradication moves forward, the polio program will continue playing an important role in the fight against COVID-19. Today, although wild polio remains confined to Afghanistan and Pakistan, cases there have risen sharply, and a rare form of polio that occurs in underimmunized populations, called circulating vaccine-derived polio, has led to outbreaks throughout Africa and Asia. That's why it's critical to continue our work to reach every child with polio vaccine. The pause in polio campaigns due to COVID this year will undoubtedly lead to a rise in cases as well, as we know that if children don't get vaccinated, polio will come back. To protect the progress we've made and overcome these acute challenges, we must reach high population immunity and quickly stop outbreaks wherever they occur. Just as importantly, the unwavering dedication demonstrated every step of the way by a committed polio team, from frontline workers, polio program staff, and political leaders in affected countries to technical experts and partners based all over the world, must continue. Rotary International's 1.2 million members, who have made eradicating polio their mission, are an integral part of this team. As advocates, fundraisers, and even vaccinators, Rotarians from all over have made and continue to make invaluable contributions to finishing polio once and for all. On behalf of the Gates Foundation and partners of the Global Polio Eradication Initiative, we thank you for everything you have done and encourage you to keep up the fight. Together, we will deliver a world where no child lives in fear of polio ever again. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. My name is Wayne Charles II, and I am a proud member and past president of the Rotary Club of Harlem. I'm also lucky to be the assistant governor for Rotary District 7230. And lastly, I am a representative for Rotary International at the United Nations in New York. And today I'm very happy and very proud to introduce to you Ms. Lorraine Shamala Hanna of Unicef. Ms. Lorraine is also the Communication for Development Specialist for polio. So Lorraine, thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you, Wayne. Can you hear me clearly?
I can hear you loud and clear, and I'm happy that we are able to be in front of each other today. And thank you for taking your time out to speak with us about the continued partnership between Rotary International and Unicef.
Yes. Thank you, Wayne. First of all, I'd like to take this opportunity to thank you for having me be part of the World Polio Day program. And on behalf of UNICEF, I would also like to thank the Rotary and District 7230 for this opportunity and all the support that you give us for polio eradication.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much. Let's just get right into it. For our virtual audience, they can see it's pretty clear, pretty evident that I'm currently based in New York City. And right now you are based in Kenya, which happens to be in Africa. So I wanted to know if you can share with everyone the great news that just came out of Africa in reference to polio.
Sure. So in August of this year, the World Health Organization certified Nigeria to be polio-free. And that means that in the African region, we currently do not have the wild polio virus. Now, this is incredible. Of course, it's quite an achievement for the African region. But at the same time, with that said, we also have to be very careful because we still have two countries that are endemic. This is Afghanistan and Pakistan. And as you can see, with what's just happened with COVID-19, we just need to make sure that we eradicate completely instead of making other countries more vulnerable and having the spread continue. Over to you, Wayne.
Thank you. Thank you for that. And we'll just have a few questions for you that I would love for you to help us answer, and once again for the virtual audience watching. Lorraine, can you tell us about UNICEF's role in the Global Polio Eradication Initiative? What has Rotary and UNICEF's partnership looked like over the past 30 plus years?
Sure. So first of all, just to remind everybody that the whole polio eradication initiative was spearheaded by the Rotary itself, and this was in 1988. And when they did this, we came together in partnership with UNICEF, with the World Health Organization, with the Centers for Disease Control, and the Rotary was there. And more in recent years, the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, and now Gavi, which is the Global Vaccine Alliance. And all these different agencies have very specific roles of things that they do for the eradication initiative. And for UNICEF, there are two main things that we focus on. One of them is vaccine procurement. So that's looking at supplies and logistics, all the way from manufacturing to make sure that they get down to the children so that they can be vaccinated and to make sure that they stay safe. And the second part of it is looking at the increase in uptake of vaccine. This is building trust within the communities, raising awareness amongst parents, doing advocacy work, social mobilization and empowerment. And that's the part that falls under communication for development. What I do, I'm one of the team members who works on that. And so those are the two things we focus on.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much for that. Now, with it being so close, as we say, this close to eradicating polio worldwide, can you elaborate on why counting down to zero is so important?
Well, first of all, I mean, we've come so far, as you say, this close. And so we need to continue this fight. I mean, we need to finish this completely. As I mentioned earlier, we just have two countries that are still wild polio endemic, and that's Pakistan and Afghanistan. With that said, we all know that 2020 has been certainly one of the most extreme, challenging year with COVID-19. And polio campaigns were actually put on hold. We had to pause them because we had to give support globally, just as other agencies and programs were for this pandemic. I bring this up because one of the reasons we also put this on pause is because if you look at the polio campaign, you will see that one of the ways that we vaccinate children is we go door to door. And by doing this, we need to make sure that we still follow our duty of care and do no harm during a pandemic. So we want to make sure that our health workers are first of all protected, and secondly, that they're not doing any more harm. The polio campaigns are starting to resume. They are starting to pick up again. And the polio program is one that is used to working in complex situations. and we will adjust, and we should continue to finish our work.
Thank you for that as well. Can you also just elaborate? A lot of people are aware of the polio efforts, but they're not too versed about the plus in Polio Plus. So can you elaborate on that and perhaps assist us in knowing how that's helping with the COVID-19 pandemic as well?
Sure. So just to elaborate on the Polio Plus program, it's when we actually give more support than just polio vaccinations. And, you know, if you look at the polio program, we have one of the largest, if not the largest, health network in the world. Okay, we have thousands of social mobilizers. It's a huge investment that we have put towards the eradication of polio with the support of partners, especially with the Rotary support. So we play a very critical role in COVID-19 response. Remember, these are teams of people that can shift relatively very quickly. They're used to working in outbreak response. They've given support in Ebola. They've given support in measles and cholera response. And so we can use them on the ground to be our eyes and ears. They do a lot of surveillance. They can do tracking of work that's going on. The social mobilization teams have been used to educate communities. Remember, these social mobilization teams also come from the communities. So when you're dealing with something such as a pandemic with COVID that has all the rumors and misinformation, they actually give support because they're trusted within the communities. This has been something where the polio program has really been able to support COVID-19 response. With that said, I want to just give you an example of a couple of places where we've been doing this work. In Afghanistan, in the southeastern part of the country, we currently have about 3,500 social mobilizers that have been going around using health promotion messages, hygiene messages, and handing out soap. And in Nigeria and Pakistan, they've been doing a lot of community awareness. I also think it's important, it's been very helpful for me, because one of the things that I do for my work with polio eradication is to focus on capacity development. And by putting everything on pause for the campaigns, it gave me the opportunity to give the agency support to develop training plans, which will be very useful when we go back into our campaigns, because the campaigns will never be the same as they used to be with all the social distancing and things people don't really think about, like when we have interpersonal communication and you send someone door to door, think about this trust issue, and all of a sudden someone's showing up at your house with a mask, and what communities think about that and what it portrays. So how do you keep, as I said, Unicef works on the uptake of vaccines up and the trust within the communities when we have had to go through something like COVID-19?
Well, thank you for that. And you know, of course, the challenges are immense, but I know that we'll be able to overcome them. So thanks for sharing that. Another question that I have for you, Lorraine, what gives you hope in your continued work, and what should Rotarians be hopeful about in the push for global eradication?
Well, I have hope. I mean, we have to have hope. I'm a health officer. I also come from a programmatic country that has had its share of outbreaks. And so I have hope when I see all the work that we do. I also have hope when we see the frontline workers and the commitment they have to their work. You know, people who go out and work under very harsh conditions. It's very hot, you know, in areas that have very low security or places that are inaccessible. We have to have hope. And for Rotarians too, we have to have hope because we've invested in this huge network to eradicate polio, and we are nearly there. But I also think it's important for Rotarians when we just see that when we invested in these networks, how it was so beneficial for COVID response also. These are things that give us hope. I want to give you an example of when I talk about these social mobilizers who work under rough conditions and the kind of work that they have to do. I mean, last year I was in the Philippines. We went to give response for an outbreak, and I was conducting a training in the southeast, southwest. And the training was being conducted in this area where there's a group of people called the Bajau who live over there. These are people who have a very closed community. They're quite elusive. It's very hard for the government to be able to penetrate into their communities and to gain entree. So when you have an outbreak in a community such as this, you rely very much on your social mobilizers because they can get into the communities, they can gain entree, they can get people to vaccinate. And think about it, because this was a country that had also gone through Denvaxia when there was a mishap with the vaccine for dengue in 2017 and 2018. There was a lot of loss in trust with the government. And when you have social mobilizers who can actually penetrate into the communities, this gives us hope that we will be able to eradicate.
Well,
Over to you.
Thank you. We definitely have to remain hopeful, as I think we all do. And I just want to say thank you so much. You made it through that lightning round of questioning, and you were very informative. And I appreciate you once again taking the time out as we celebrate World Polio Day, and our District 7230, amongst all the Rotarians worldwide, will be participating in various festivities. So Lorraine, I just thank you again for your time. And I want you to continue to stay safe. And we really, really enjoy hearing from you and your impact worldwide in reference to ending polio now. We're this close once again. And in closing, I just have to once again thank some of the individuals behind the scenes that helped coordinate today's discussion, starting with the team from Unicef USA, Megan, Tala, and Michael, to Rose Cardarelli, which is a Rotary representative to the United Nations with Unicef, and to my Rotary District 7230 family, starting with our district governor, Mary Shackleton, our public image team and head, Nadine, and lastly, Jason Gonzalez, colleague of mine, Rotary extraordinaire. They all were behind the scenes to allow this to occur. And once again, Lorraine, thank you so much for taking your time out, and enjoy the rest of your day and the rest of your week.
Sure, Wayne. And I too would like to thank Rotarians for their support for this eradication initiative and for all the support that we've been doing this for the last 30 years together in partnership, and also for you for giving me the opportunity to speak to you. Thank you.
Thank you. And I'm going to ask you one last thing before we close. If you could just put your fingers up and with me and say, we're this close.
Yes, we are this close.
We're this close. Yes. In between Rotary and Unicef, we want to end polio now. Thank you, everyone.
For each of us, there are moments that define us. Moments where we fought for what we believed.
The moment Berliners have waited 28 years for.
When we pushed the boundaries to the unknown. Moments that remind us of a past we cannot accept, and that create within us the desire to take a stand and do something. 30 years ago, polio was claiming the lives of hundreds of thousands of children just like me. There was a vaccine that could help stop it, but it wasn't reaching all of us. Until you decided to step in and do something. You decided to find a way to reach us all, no matter where in the world we might be. It all started with one small project. And 6 million children were saved from polio, forever. The world took notice, and things began to change. On streets, on trains, planes, boats and bicycles. Over deserts and rivers, mountains and valleys. Through jungles and war zones, you never stopped. But it can't end here. We are this close, the closest that we've ever been. 3 countries remain, and we must continue to strive to reach every last child. Because every life truly does matter. And together, you have proved that when you put service above self, the world can be a much better place.
Since 1985, Rotary has been the foundation on which the polio eradication program is built.
Last year, we saw just 37 cases, the lowest number in history.
Thanks to your efforts, more than 16 million people are walking today who would otherwise have been paralyzed.
Thanks to your vision, humanity is on the verge of one of the greatest public health achievements in history.
While our work is not yet done, the remarkable dream that you had 3 decades ago to tackle one of the world's greatest public health challenges, the end of polio, is nearly a reality.
Thanks to you, we truly are this close to ending polio.
Thanks to you, we are truly this close to ending polio.
Hi, this is District 7230 Governor Mary Shackleton. It is my honor and privilege to welcome 3 people of action, District 7230 Rotarians who have participated in a National Immunization Day, or NID. A National Immunization Day is that incredible 24 to 48 hour period of time where thousands of public health workers and volunteers send out to train stations, bus depots, and communities to inoculate millions of children against polio. It is a life-changing experience for the children vaccinated, their families, and those who do the vaccinating. Without further ado, here's a panel. Past District Governor George Camp from the Austining Rotary Club, past District Governor Janet DiBenedetto from the Pleasantville Rotary Club, and past President Stefan Yekel from the Rotary Club of Metro New York City. My first question is for PDG George. George has traveled millions of miles in the effort to end polio. Now, he spent significant time on the continent of Africa and in Nigeria specifically. So, PDG George, please tell us about your experiences in Nigeria when it was impacted both by polio and the group Boko Haram. We look forward to hearing your answer. Thanks so much.
In Nigeria, the main problem was, and which has been addressed by Rotary International, is access to medical care. And when I was there was also the political upsetness of Boko Haram, which was not a well-known as far as term back then. What Rotary has done is in organizing the Rotaractors, the Rotarians, healthcare workers, in assisting World Health and Unicef, our partners, in the immunization of children in these northern areas. Big part of it is the cold chain, which is necessary. And when we're talking about, when I was there, the temperature was about 115 during the day. So our vaccine has to stay cold, although very quickly it could be destroyed just from the heat of the area. So you literally take the vaccine out and you place it right back in, even though there might be 20 or 30 kids as far as waiting to be immunized.
Excellent. Thank you. And due to your work and that of others, Africa was declared wild polio virus free in August. And that's just an amazing accomplishment. And thank you for your part in making that happen.
Thank you.
PDG Janet, you have served as a foundation leader at both the club, district, and zone level. But you recently wrote after your trip to India that it was a life-changing experience for you. So tell us a little bit more about that and what it has meant to you.
Thanks, Mary. First of all, I want to say this bottle is really what changed my life. This is the bottle that the vaccine comes in, and 2 drops out of this bottle saves a child from paralysis. I was so taken. I thought I've had many Rotary moments. I think that when you go and give this vaccine to children, the lines that are formed with mothers, fathers bringing their children to be vaccinated, brothers and sisters bringing their brothers and sisters to be vaccinated, and people handing you, an absolute stranger, their child so that they don't get polio. It was so moving to me to think that, you know, here we are Rotarians and we take so much for granted, and the little things in another country become, Mary, such a phenomenon. I think the other thing that really changed my life was, you know, one day is the NID and the next day we actually go into the slums and knock on doors. And people who have nothing, absolutely nothing, were willing to give you their last cracker or cup of tea to say thank you. It was amazing to me. This is a fight we cannot stop. We must continue to end polio now. And I am, as you know, Mary, an absolute advocate of making this happen. I'm fortunate enough to work with the Rotary International Task Force to eradicate polio. I work with Mike McGovern and Ann Matthews and some other Rotarians within the states. It's a fight I'm not going to give up. And I want to take everybody on board with me so that this bottle can continue to save lives. Thanks, Mary.
Janet, thank you for your service and your leadership as we will get to zero. So thank you so much, Janet.
You're welcome. Thanks, Mary.
Past President Stefan, you're a capital markets guy, do a lot of work in high finance, but your heart is in service above self as a Rotarian. Tell us about your experience as an NID volunteer and why ending polio is so important to economic development in the developing world.
No, thank you, DG Mary, also for inviting me to having me on this distinguished panel here with 2 of my favorite PDGs here, with both of whom I couldn't agree more to both their remarks and the insights that they shared. On that occasion also, we have I think our district altogether has been very active here when it comes to NIDs, and also a shout out to our fellow club member Nadine and to Suzanne from the Wall Street Club here, who have been out in the field, and everyone agrees it's a life-changing experience, incomparable to anything you may have experienced on any other travel or on any other local service projects. To your question now, it's the old story. It's the basic concept in my view of quality of life and improving people's lives, improving people's health, keeping illnesses away, and with that increase or that securing of a certain level of quality of life, that opens up doors. It opens up doors for elders and children alike to engage in education. That education translates into economic opportunity and prosperity, be it on a social or socio-economic level. I mean, we've seen it over and over again in any of the initiatives that Rotary is involved in, be it be it shelter boxes or mosquito nets. In our case here, in our context today, National Immunization Days and going on trips. It's been phenomenal. And as a tie into some of the previous remarks, also from George, I mean, we're going on these trips. There have also been trips that were canceled. I believe even Suzanne was scheduled to go to Nigeria and the trip had to get canceled for security reasons. And we're talking about Africa being outbreak free. We're talking about India being non-endemic. Needless to point out, the vaccination efforts need to continue below that point to really stamp out, to really eradicate polio. And that's where we are, and that's where we're there. And at the time, in just over 7 years ago, when I went to India in a phenomenal trip that past director Brett Howard put together, polio was still endemic in India. And on the sidelines, I know every one of us has experienced the tremendous power of Rotary. I remember, and I still have the photo at home, of course, I remember here sitting at the table for to plan the NID day, followed by the day going out into settlements. And we were people around the table from around the world, from the US, and also on an important note, from India and Pakistan alike. So where on the grassroots basis, people are pulling in the same direction, even when at times political leadership does not. It's been overwhelming and speaking to the power of Rotary.
Very well.
Awesome. Thank you, Stefan. And thank you, Janet and George, for your time in joining us. You have helped build an infrastructure that not only is being used to eradicate polio, but is being used in the fight against COVID-19 and was used against Ebola in Nigeria in 2014. And we will celebrate with all of you and celebrate your accomplishment when we do get down to zero. So thank you for taking part in World Polio Day with us. We're delighted for you, your service, and we honor you. Thanks so much, and have a great World Polio Day.
I am Susanna Schwartz, member of the Rotary E-Club of Wall Street. Welcome Rotary International President Holger Knack from the Rotary Club of Herzogtum Lauenburg-Mölln in Germany, and District Governor Mary Shackleton of District 7230 from the Rotary Club Metro in New York City. We are here today to celebrate World Polio Day 2020. Dear District Governor Mary, would you be so kind and ask the first question?
Thank you. Willkommen, President Holger. Thank you for opening this opportunity for us. Our first question relates to your trip to Pakistan in February, where you led a delegation that met with Imran Khan. Would you please tell us a little bit about that meeting?
Yes, thank you. Thank you, Mary. So we flew to Pakistan end of January, and directly from the IA San Diego. And the reason was very simple, because the numbers became so bad. You know, in 2018, we have had just 8 cases, and in 2019, already 146. And that was the reason why incoming chairman of the Rotary Foundation, Rabia Vindran, and IPPC, so Polio Plus committee chairman, Mike McGovern, and I flew to Pakistan, yes, to convince, not to push, but to convince the government to do something more. And it was amazing that we had a meeting with the Prime Minister Imran Khan, and what was as important, with the Chief of Army Staff, who told us to do everything. So they admitted that they have to do more, And last December, they vaccinated 40 million children in Pakistan. That is an amazing number, unbelievable. 40 million children with the help of 250,000 polio workers and 100,000 soldiers. So, and this was, I think, as a result, we see this year less cases. So the cases went down to 65 right now. Anyway, too many cases. But this was the major reason. And by the way, this was my most remarkable trip this year, because all of you know I'm sitting here in Germany because of the pandemic. And so I still remember this great trip to Pakistan.
Awesome. Thanks so much for that insights. So as we are talking about cases, Africa was just declared polio-free a couple of weeks ago. That's really worth celebrating. How can we as Rotarians leverage such fantastic news on a club and district level?
Thank you, Susan, for that question. Yes, it's unbelievable. Africa is wild polio virus free. And this great event, again, should be in person in Abuja, Nigeria. And all of us know it was not possible. So everything was via Zoom, like the same thing we are doing right now here. I had the opportunity to speak right after Dr. Tedros and before Bill Gates. And this would be great doing this in person in Nigeria. But I think what the outcome here is, first of all, we had a really great media coverage that was, yes, better than what I dreamed here in all newspapers all over Europe, I think, and I also heard all over the United States. And leverage this. This will be regarding Corona. All of us hope that that there will be a Corona vaccine as soon as possible. And if there is a vaccine, so there we will be able to vaccinate people all over Africa, all over South Asia, all over Southeast Asia, just because of Rotary, because Rotary started that initiative 40 years ago. And so we will be able to vaccinate people immediately because there is the logistic is there and the structure is there to do this on the spot. And I think with this, Rotarians are really again on top in this question of vaccinating people.
Thank you. With your enthusiasm, I'm sure we are gonna count down to 0. So President Holger, our last question for you. Do you have a message that you'd like to share with District 7230 regarding World Polio Day, or any other message that you'd like to share with us?
Yes, thank you very much. That's really easy. We have a lot to do still. And we have promised the children of the world that Rotarians will end polio. And I think Rotarians are keeping their promise. And so we have to do everything we can to end polio. And it's about, for me, 3 things are important. First of all, creating awareness. It's also about vaccinating people, no, not people, children in your country, in my country, in my part of the world, because the number of vaccinated children is really decreasing. And that's terrible because all of us know that the virus can come back. So it's about awareness. Every child, also in our areas, have to be vaccinated. Secondly, that's advocacy. We have to let people know how important that is and how important it is to vaccinate people against polio. Not just our governments, also ordinary people, because everybody has to be aware. And third, that's simply about money. We need money, and that's a good opportunity for a fundraiser. And so these are these 3 important things. But all overall, for me, it's important. We have promised the children to end polio, and we have to do the job.
DACA President Holder, thank you so much for taking time to join us on World Polio Day. Thanks so much.
Thank you, Mary, and all the best for that.
Thanks so much.
Oh my gosh, I hope you were inspired. You had a chuckle, learned a lot, and like me, shed a few tears. Thank you to all those who participated in this event. And I want to especially thank some of the people who are on this panel and those who helped us put this work together. I'd like to thank our tech team, Luis Martinez and Cyril Peta, who helped us put together this live stream. We sure learned a lot in the process. I'd like to thank our awesome public image team, Jason Gonzalez, who is one of our panelists, and the incredible Nadine Homan, who is also joining us today. And then I can't thank him enough. Our most amazing trainer, Eric Storberg, who's been a real help in this process as well. And then there are 3 women who have been here from the get, and I can't thank them enough. Our Polio Plus Subcommittee Chair, Eileen Gallagher, the woman who sort of inspired the Oktoberfest event, Suzanne Schwartz, who's put a tremendous amount of work, and I hope you will join us at 2 p.m. to see the fruit of her labors, and the incomparable Cecily Smith. I can't thank her enough. She does what needs doing. She's always there and always helpful, and this event was better because of her. So I want to thank all of them and thank you. So far, we've helped vaccinate a little more than 40 kids. I hope that you can up that tote board throughout the rest of the day. We are counting on you. So look under those couch cushions, behind the seats in your car, in the glove compartment, and find a few extra dollars to help us vaccinate some kids and build the infrastructure that will help us battle COVID-19 and deadly viruses like COVID. So I'd like to actually highlight and call out a couple of people who are with us today. So first of all, Polio Plus Subcommittee Chair Eileen, I'd like you to unmute and join us. And I hope that our awesome immediate past district governor, Mahbub Ahmad, and the amazing AG, Bina Ahmad, are also with us. So if you folks would come on live to join us. So first of all, Chair Eileen, what are your thoughts on today? Please let us know.
Okay, well, I have to tell you, I was introduced to the committee last year. Sadly, I was introduced to Shaw just shortly before he passed away. But I have to tell you, I'm in gratitude for Mahbub for asking me to be part of that committee last year and to meet with Shaw. And then the short time I know him, he was the most inspiring person. And now to be part of this year's committee, you all are such an inspiration. I've been learning a lot. I admire you all. Cecily, Mary, Suzanne, all of you, you're just, it's amazing. And to think that what we can do to help children and to eradicate this disease is just incredible.
Mahbub, are you with us? Unfortunately, no. Well, Eileen, any other thoughts?
Oh my goodness, I have a lot of thoughts. You don't want to get me going. But I have to tell you, and also now I'm seeing in the chat about if people post-COVID are interested in the vaccinating program, and I would certainly be interested in taking part of that to save lives. You know, I guess all this work is one thing, but actually being out there among the people that you are saving is just beyond. I can't even imagine the big hearts that people have to do that, and the gratification, and watching the testimony from Janet and Stefan and George. It was just very inspirational. You know, on a Saturday like this, you just want to say, let's do this. We're this close. We want to be down to zero, and we can do it.
Oh gosh, thank you, Eileen, and for all your efforts. So folks, we're about to wrap. I want to encourage you all to get your tickets for Oktoberfest. We'll be back at 2 o'clock. That's 1 hour from now. So Prost. We're also continuing to have our move-a-thon. So please get a move on. We'd love to see your funny videos. We want to up that fundraising tote board. And I'm trying not to cry. I wanted to say my last words for the incredible Shahid Latif. I hope he's smiling down from heaven. Shah, we love you, we miss you, and this is for you. Thank you so much. Goodbye, everybody. Love to you all.